Scientists finally found the reason for the last mass extinction. This is insane. No asteroid impact or volcanic eruption caused mass extinctions on Earth 420 million years ago. Then, what was the reason? Are we facing a sixth mass extinction? Well, this is a really serious issue, and that's what we are going to discuss today. Hey folks, welcome back to TechVerse, where in today's video, we are going to discuss the real reason behind the last mass extinction, and we are also going to discuss the sixth mass extinction, so make sure to watch the video till the end. In the late prehistoric Silurian period, some 420 million years ago, a severe global extinction event known as the Kozlowskii extinction took off roughly 23% of all marine species. While scientists have long battled to determine the cause of this mass extinction, they have finally found an answer, and this time it is not due to an asteroid hit or a volcanic explosion. According to Florida State University researchers, the Kozlowskii extinction, which is regarded as one of the 10 most dramatic extinctions in our planet's history, was caused by rapid and widespread loss of oxygen in the world oceans. The study, conducted by academics from Florida State University and published in the journal Geology, addresses a long-standing paleoclimatic puzzle while also raising grave concerns about our present oceans. This makes it one of the few extinction events comparable to the large-scale declines in biodiversity currently occurring today, as well as a valuable window into future climate scenarios, study co-author Seth Young, an assistant professor in the Department of Earth, Ocean, and Atmospheric Sciences, said. Scientists have long known about the Kozlowskii extinction, as well as a related disruption in the Earth's carbon cycle that resulted in the burial of massive volumes of organic matter, causing substantial climate and environmental impacts. However, the connection and timing of these two related occurrences remained elusive. It's never been obvious how this timing of events might be linked to a climate perturbation, or whether there was direct evidence linking widespread low oxygen conditions to the extinction, said the study's lead author, FSU PhD student Chelsea Bowman. The researchers use advanced geochemical methods to quantify thallium isotopes, manganese concentrations, and sulfur isotopes at key sites in Latvia and Sweden. It allowed them to build a history of ocean deoxygenation in relation to the Kozlowskii extinction and subsequent alterations in the global carbon cycle. The new data verified the team's original premise that the extinction record was caused by a decrease in ocean oxygenation. Their multi-proxy data revealed a clear link between the continuous creep of deoxygenated waters and the stepwise nature of the extinction event, which began in deep-water organism populations and eventually moved to shallow water organisms. This discovery reveals, for the first time, a mechanism to drive the documented stepwise extinction event, which first coincided with oxygen deoxygenation and was followed by more severe and toxic ocean conditions with sulfide in the water column, Bowman said. Now, let's discuss the reasons why animals and plants go extinct. Changes in the climate. Even in the absence of massive asteroid or comet impacts, which may reduce global temperatures by 20 or 30 degrees Fahrenheit, climate change is a persistent threat to terrestrial organisms. You only need to go back around 11,000 years to the end of the last ice age, when numerous megafauna species were unable to adapt to rapidly rising temperatures. They also died as a result of a lack of food and predation by early humans. And we are all aware of the long-term harm that global warming poses to modern civilization. Disease. While it is uncommon for the disease to be the sole reason of the extinction of a species, the groundwork must first be established by famine, habitat loss, and/or a lack of genetic diversity. The introduction of a highly lethal virus or bacterium at an inappropriate time can wreak havoc. Witness the current plight of the world's amphibians, which are succumbing to chytridiomycosis, a fungal infection that ravages the skin of frogs, toads, and salamanders and kills them in a matter of weeks, not to mention the Black Death, which wiped out a third of Europe's population during the Middle Ages. Loss of habitat. Most animals require a certain amount of space to hunt and feed, reproduce, and raise their young, and, if required, grow their population. A single bird may be content with a high branch of a tree, but huge predatory beasts, such as Bengal tigers, have domains measured in square miles. As human civilization continues to spread into the wild, the breadth of these natural ecosystems shrinks, making their limited and diminishing populations more vulnerable to other extinction threats. Invasive species. While most survival battles last millennia, there are moments when the fight is shorter, bloodier, and more one-sided. When a plant or animal from one habitat is accidentally transferred into another, typically by an ignorant human or animal host, it can multiply uncontrollably, resulting in the extinction of the native species. That's why American botanists cringe when they hear the word kudzu, a weed brought here from Japan in the late 1800s and now spreading at the rate of 150,000 acres per year, squeezing out native vegetation. Lack of food. Mass famine is a one-way ticket to extinction, especially because hungry people are more vulnerable to disease and predation, and the consequences for the food chain can be deadly. Assume that scientists discover a means to permanently eliminate malaria by exterminating every mosquito on the planet. At first glance, this may appear to be excellent news for humans, but consider the domino effect, as all the creatures that feed on mosquitoes, such as bats and frogs, become extinct, as do all the animals that feed on bats and frogs, and so on down the food chain. Are we facing a sixth mass extinction? Stay tuned, we'll talk about that later, but first, let's understand how many mass extinctions have there been. 5 mass extinctions have altered the course of life on Earth. Some of them are explained, but others remain a mystery. The Ordovician Silurian mass extinction happened 443 million years ago, eradicating roughly 85% of all species. Temperatures plummeted, and massive glaciers formed, causing sea levels to decrease drastically, according to scientists. This was followed by a rapid warming period. Many little sea species perished. The Devonian mass extinction event occurred 374 million years ago and wiped off almost 3/4 of the world's species, the majority of which were marine invertebrates that lived at the sea's bottom. This was a time of major climatic changes, such as global warming and cooling, rising and falling sea levels, and a decrease in oxygen and carbon dioxide levels in the atmosphere. We don't know what caused this extinction event. The Permian mass extinction, which occurred 250 million years ago, was the most massive and deadly of the 5. It was also known as the Great Dying because it wiped out more than 95% of all species, including most vertebrates that had begun to evolve by this time. Some scientists believe Earth was hit by a large asteroid, which filled the air with dust particles, obstructing the sun and causing acid rain. Others believe there was a big volcanic explosion that created carbon dioxide and contaminated the waters. The Triassic mass extinction occurred 200 million years ago, eradicating over 80% of Earth's biodiversity, including several forms of dinosaurs. This was most likely caused by massive geological activity, which boosted carbon dioxide levels, global temperatures, and ocean acidification. The Cretaceous mass extinction happened 65 million years ago, eradicating 78% of all species, including the last non-avian dinosaurs. This was most likely triggered by an asteroid striking the Earth in what is now Mexico, which was possibly exacerbated by ongoing flood volcanism in what is now India. Could we stop a 6th mass extinction? Mass extinctions are a vast and complicated problem. They can be slow to develop, requiring millions of years. Right now, it appears that we are witnessing a 6th, and it is unquestionably the product of human actions, especially human-caused climate change. The floods and wildfires we're hearing about in the news now will be commonplace in 50 years, Katie predicts. They will put our buildings, infrastructures, transatlantic cables, satellites, and other systems to the test. These natural calamities will worsen existing inequities, but this does not have to be the case. According to research, if we adjust how we use natural resources now, the future for the next generation might be bright. If we can focus on lessening the bad influence we've had on the climate, other things will improve, such as the number of species currently threatened by habitat loss, adds Katie. We must improve our access to and utilization of natural resources, particularly land management. Land usage is linked to habitat destruction, which is a major issue. Many people believe that prioritizing environmental protection and preservation over the interest of financial systems will result in the quickest reforms. I know there's a lot of emphasis on individual action, but the majority of climate-altering pollutants and fossil fuel burning is the responsibility of a tiny number of parties, Katie explains. It would be far more effective for individuals to exert pressure on authorities and businesses to decrease emissions and target significant emitters. Our world's future depends on us launching what could be the largest international effort in history to reduce human impacts. We all have an active role to play, which necessitates a profound shift in our values, attitudes, and behaviors. All right, everyone, this brings us to the end of our video. And if you like the video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay updated.